we go. Juneau Gastineau Rotary Club on May 6th, 2021. And we're pleased to welcome as our speakers today from Juneau Symphony, Charlotte Truitt, the Executive Director, along with Beth Pendleton, the President. So Charlotte and Beth, I'll let you take it from here. You can share if you like. We look forward to hearing from you.
Okay, super, great. Thank you so much, Amy. And it's just a pleasure for Beth and I to be with you all this morning. We're very excited to share with you a little bit about what's been happening with the Juneau Symphony throughout this last year of the challenging situations we've been in, but we found a lot of creative ways to keep music alive in our community, and wanted to share a little bit about what we have been doing and about what is coming up that we anticipate over the next several months. Amy, could I go ahead and share my screen? And I wanted to show you all our website to kind of get a little bit more information out here for you to see. Can you see my screen okay, everyone?
Yes, we can.
Okay, super. This last year, we have found ways to bring music into the homes of our community and with people near and far throughout the country even. We've had many subscribers to our At Home with the Juneau Symphony virtual concert series. We have produced 6 concerts total. We have one more coming up this next week, but our project has been At Home with the Juneau Symphony, bringing concerts into folks' home. We've been working with KTOO, and they've done a wonderful job. We've been recording at iconic Juneau locations such as the Mendenhall Glacier, the Alaska Heritage Institute, the Alaska State Library Archives and Museum, at Holy Trinity Church, and our next one is coming up at Eagle Crest. So those concerts are available, and I'll just show you a little bit about that. We have the next concert you'll see here is our festive finale, and we've tried to make it very easy for folks to purchase tickets to this concert. You can get the one concert premiering on May 16th, but the concert is available to you to watch at your convenience. It is not a live stream, so you can watch it as often as you want for 2 weeks. If it's a rainy day, and it may be over the next few weeks, instead of going hiking, you can snuggle up at home and watch a great concert. This concert is more of a pops concert with tango music influences, and we have jazz, a little bit of classical fun with PDQ Bach, kind of a very rarely heard tuba and violin duet will be coming your way. And we've got some good jazz and blues. So it's going to be a really fun concert with about 20 local musicians sharing from Eagle Crest ski area. And so those tickets are now available for $30, and then that's per household. And then you can also purchase additional gift subscriptions for just $15. And again, you can watch it at your convenience. So that is coming up very soon. And I wanted to touch on another thing that we've been doing during the pandemic is our weekly radio shows that we've been doing in partnership with KTOO. We're calling it Sundays with the Juneau Symphony. And we have put together and provided over 54 weeks of programming every week, producing radio broadcasts that include past performances and some special events and features. We've also kept our music director search alive by having our finalists present radio shows. And so you can listen in to wonderful music every Sunday at 1 o'clock on KRNN. This week, we're featuring our Shaken Not Stirred, music of James Bond, a Pops concert. This is the time of year when we tend to think about the Pops concerts. And so that's what we're featuring this next week in preparation for our festive finale concert coming up. And then also here, you can listen in at your convenience again to past concerts. So you can just click on and listen to the radio broadcasts that we have here available. So we've really worked hard to keep the music alive in our community. And those are a couple of the ways we've been doing it. And folks can still get that music anytime you'd like from our website. Another thing we have coming up that we're very excited about in our education outreach, during the pandemic, we had virtual music theory classes for adults and youth learners, and that was taught by Franz Felkel, our concert master. And I'll just say we've been so thrilled to have Franz as our concert master. He has done a tremendous job and has worked to do the artistic direction of our virtual season. And born and raised in Juneau, grew up in the Juneau School District, went to UAF. Then he went on and played professionally with the Amerne String Quartet in Florida, and returned to Juneau a couple of years ago. And so it is just a delight to have him and his talents and his local connections. He also works with the JAM program. And that kind of leads me into the next project we're doing is our summer string camp. We are partnering with JAM, and we are offering a string camp at Eagle Crest. So students can play all morning, brush up their violin and cello skills, and in the afternoon go outside and do something active and group activities up at Eagle Crest. And so our summer string camp is coming up under the direction of Franz Felkel and Megan Johnson. And here's a little bit about that summer string camp. We are so pleased. We're now at 37 registered students. I think the families are eager to have their students engaged and playing again. And this will kind of springboard them into the next school year. We're very grateful that we can provide about 10 scholarships to students that are in need. And HECLA is supporting us, as is the Juneau the CBJ Youth Activity Grant as well, and we're reaching out to the Rasmussen Foundation with a special camp grant that they're offering. So it's going to be a very successful pilot program, and we hope to grow this program to provide summer camps for youth in August to kind of get everyone geared up. We've been working with music educators of the community, doing roundtables with school teachers and private music teachers to find out how the Juneau Symphony can best support music education in our community. And it's been really helpful to find out how we can best serve the community. And this was one of the things that was identified, that we could really enhance what's already happening in the schools by providing a summer camp. And so we're kicking it off this year. It'll be our first time, and we're really grateful for our partners at Eagle Crest to work with us on that project. So let's see. So that's the music education and outreach. We're also going to be, I'll stop sharing my screen now, but I just wanted everyone to see our website, know that you can always go there for updated information about the symphony. And we do have a lot going on, and hope you'll take advantage of our website. Another thing we're going to be doing this summer to help support our local musicians in playing, because people haven't been able to play together for so long, in large groups, we have been able to provide opportunities for almost 60 musicians during the pandemic with our virtual concerts. But this summer, if you're over at Savaco Park, you might be there on a Tuesday night by the Pioneer Pavilion. Our musicians will be having reading sessions and in informal gatherings, so they can get together and play again. And I don't know, if you're walking by, you might bring a chair and a blanket and enjoy some music while they're brushing up their skills this summer at Savaco Park. And we'll be gathering the musicians as well for some social gatherings to kind of get us prepared to come back in the fall. And I will just kind of segue over to Beth Pendleton. We are very excited to be able to announce some tentative dates for our fall main stage concert. We hope to be back on the stage on October 16th and 17th to continue our music director search. And we'll have that guest conductor here with us in Juneau. One way or another, we're going to have a concert, and we can all look forward to it. We'll be adapting to whatever the COVID conditions are at the time, but we want folks to know that we are making those preparations. And I'll turn it over to Beth Pendleton to share a little bit about the upcoming concert and the season ahead.
Well, thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Amy, for the invitation, and to the Juneau Gastineau Rotary Club for having Charlotte and myself this morning. It's great to be here. It's great to see some familiar faces and also some new faces. And like the symphony, we're all navigating these some of these uncharted waters, but as Charlotte's mentioned, the symphony has just thrived over the last year in spite of some of our challenges. So I wanted to talk just for a few minutes about the music director search. As Charlotte mentioned, we're excited to come back to the main stage this fall, October 16th and 17th. And this will be our audition of our third finalist, Dr. Stephen Radcliffe. We actually began the search almost 3 years ago. Amy Lujan was part of the search committee, along with several others from the community and some of our musicians with the Juneau Symphony. And I helped to co-chair that search. It was an exciting time. We had over 50 applicants. This was in the fall of 2018, which seems like a long time ago, but we're excited now to finally bring this to a close. We actually, of those 50 candidates, we boiled that down to 3 wonderful finalists, Dr. Christopher Cook, who hails out of Springfield and Missouri, and he's now since moved to the West Coast. And we also have Dr. Scott Seaton, who is out of Northern California, where he is the music director for the Northern States Symphony in Northern California. And our third finalist, Stephen Radcliffe, who hails from Seattle, and he formerly was the music director for our Seattle Youth Symphonies down there. So we're excited for these 3 gentlemen. The first 2 already have auditioned. Dr. Seaton was here in January of 2020, and Dr. Cook late fall of 2019. So we'll be bringing Stephen up this fall, and as part of his final audition, he will also be doing some engagement with the community. It would be great to get him to a Rotary meeting while he's here if the scheduling works out. And also we'll have plenty of opportunity to work with our musicians, of course, as well as some time with the board and our Juneau Symphony choir. So we're really excited to bring the music director search to a close. We expect to do the vote of the membership by early December and make an announcement in December, hopefully at a holiday event with the Juneau Symphony. So we're really excited about that. I just wanted to say that we have really been tried, like many organizations this past year, and I really especially wanted to acknowledge our staff at the Symphony, Charlotte Truitt, Taylor Young, Franz Felko, and others who have just really worked together along with K2 Studios and with Betsy Sims of Studio A, just to bring some amazing virtual performances. And I would strongly encourage you, if you haven't had an opportunity to partake, you still have that opportunity, as Charlotte mentioned, with the festive finale coming up, which will be filmed this weekend and will premiere a week from Sunday. So we hope that you will join us for that and enjoy some of our local musicians who have been performing in these virtual performances. The last thing I'll mention, Charlotte did put our website up on the screen. We encourage you to visit that and visit that often to see updates from the Symphony. In addition to our summer programming, we will be very soon, as we work with Juneau Community Schools, be laying out our full season for the 22 season, which will begin with our October concert with Dr. Stephen Radcliffe, our third finalist. And then we expect to also have main stage performances early next February, April, and then the following June, which, as Charlotte mentioned, is our traditional Pops concert. So that's our season coming forward. We're excited. We know our musicians are ready to get back to the main stage. This has been a difficult year and a half almost for those in the arts community and the opportunity to come back and perform together. So we're really excited for this year coming forward. And with that, Amy and folks, if there are questions for Charlotte and myself, we would be happy to take those. And thanks for having us.
Great, thank you both. Doug will kind of manage the questions, but I just wanted to say, as somebody who's very involved with the symphony myself, I can't thank you both enough for all the work you've done this past year. I mean, it's just been a matter of, jumping one way and then jumping another way and trying to keep things going and just continuing the involvement and the positive vibes with the symphony has been very important through this year. And the virtual concerts have been great. I'm sure this last one will be equally fun because the K2 skilled camera people, they show outdoor local scenes and then they show the musicians and they just pan around. They do an excellent job. So it's been fun for people outside of Juneau to enjoy also. And that's what we've gifted it to several relatives and they've just thought it was fantastic. And it sounds like a really fun program coming up. So I'm looking forward to that one. Thank you both. Doug?
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Beth or Charlotte? Anybody here? Anybody out there? No questions? I have a question. So you guys started back in 2018 to find conductors. Is it getting harder and harder to find conductors, or do you just look into it 3 or 4 years ahead of time?
So I'll jump on that question, Doug. This was my first opportunity, to be involved in a search. We had done a search about 4 years prior to that in advance of hiring Troy Quinn, who was our music director for about 3.5 years. It is a robust, but it is a pretty tight-knit group of folks. I believe the first music director search that was done following Kyle Wiley Pickett in about 2000 and it would have probably been around 2014 or 15. And that search resulted in about 70 applicants. And then again, 3.5 years later in 2018, when we did the search, we had 50 applicants. And it's a very diverse group of folks that apply, predominantly from the States. However, we did have international conductors apply as well, and very well accomplished. Many of these folks reside with a symphony in a community in the United States, from New York to California and places in between, as well as overseas. Many of them travel extensively and do guest conducting. And for those of you who are regular symphony participants, you'll know that prior to COVID, for about 1.5 years, we had guest conductors virtually from primarily the Pacific Northwest. But it's a tight knit, but there's quite a group of folks out there. And certainly the Juneau Symphony, we are a growing symphony over the last decade or so, and steadily have become a higher performing group of musicians. And so we did attract a lot of applicants. And I think that's pretty typical. We're kind of a mid-sized symphony when you look at the full suite of symphonies across the country, but we certainly attracted a very diverse and again, roughly 50 applicants. So it was quite a process for the committee to narrow that down. We went through a series of interviews. We also listened to their materials, their performances, their concerts, and then actually interviewed 10 candidates to get it down to the 3 finalists. So a very competitive process with a very diverse group of candidates.
Doug, we would have finished a lot sooner if it weren't for the pandemic. We would have had our new music director by now, but
That's right.
Things got pushed back.
We were, in fact, we were about 2 weeks away from the final concert when the pandemic broke out. We were scheduled to have Dr. Stephen Radcliffe here in April. And, that was just, the pandemic began, mid-March and into April. We were very close to completing it, but didn't quite get there. But it is a lengthy process, and it's wonderful that the Juneau Symphony has got a good reputation within the orchestral community, that we are financially very stable, solid. We are an attractive organization, and we are an attractive community, and that speaks well to for all of us to know that Juneau is, it's such a beautiful place. It's a unique place. It's a place that people desire to be. And so we are very attractive, and we thank the community for that. That speaks highly of all of the full community. So yeah, we look forward to getting the new music director on board. For sure.
All right, thank you. Pam, did you have a question?
Yeah, what is the compensation that the conductor receives from Juneau?
Pam asked, what is the compensation the conductor receives here in Juneau?
The compensation is about 38 to 40,000. That is for 4 main stage concerts. So typically our music directors don't reside in Juneau, although we may see that certainly in the future, depending on the candidate and their family situation. So that compensation is for roughly 2 to 3 weeks of rehearsal time in advance of the concert, and then 2 to 3 main stage performances and community engagement as well, while that individual is in town.
All right, thank you. Any other? Yes.
What's the makeup of the concert, of the Juneau concert, and how big is it?
What's
orchestra?
Yeah, so what's the makeup of the orchestra and how big is it?
I could answer that. We have approximately 95 member musicians, and we have approximately 79 to 82% resident Juneau musicians, and then that is augmented with about 15 to 18% of folks who come from the region and elsewhere. So it's a group of about 95 to 100 musicians who play consistently in the orchestra, where they're playing at least in 2 concerts in the last 2 years of performances.
How many are on stage for each concert roughly, Charlotte, typically?
On a typical concert, we have about between 50 and 60, depending on the work, that is the works that are part of the repertoire for each concert. Does that answer your question? You couldn't.
Excuse me?
Is there much support crew? Is there?
What about support crew backstage?
Backstage, yes, we have a production coordinator, and then we work with the high school that has a stage manager as well. So, and then there's a whole group of volunteers, of course. We're always looking for more volunteers to assist us with front of the house, the box office, the greeting, the ushering, and support services that are provided to the musicians as well. So all told, there's probably at least 100 people involved in every production, maybe as many as 120, depending on if we have an extra something extra going on, such as an auction or a large concession stand or the raffle with more support services. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to talk about volunteerism and how the Juneau Symphony, a very important part of our Juneau Symphony family are our volunteers, and we can't produce these concerts without volunteers. So I know you all are all very engaged and active in the community and giving in so many ways, but if you're interested in orchestral music and you have a heart for this, we're always looking for new volunteers. We're looking to kick off a new program. I think we're going to call it Friends of the Juneau Symphony, where you receive a little additional training on matters of the symphony, and then also kind of being ambassadors for the Juneau Symphony throughout the community. So yes, a large group of people are necessary to pull off these major events and concerts. We also do special events in addition to our main stage concerts. We've had special events at Eagle Crest, at the Clan House, and SALT, other activities that provide more chamber music, and then also fundraising efforts to support the operations of the symphony. So lots of ways people can get involved with the symphony, mentoring young people, bringing them to the concerts. That is another area where we can grow and enforce and encourage music appreciation among our youth. So I'd be happy to talk to anybody at the office, or just you can reach me by email at charlotte@juneausymphony.org. or give us a call, and we'll get you hooked up if you're interested in getting a little more involved with the Juneau Symphony.
All right, thank you, Charlotte. Amy?
Mhm.
Well, another way of volunteering that might be appropriate for this group, Charlotte, is housing. When we have
Yes.
musicians coming in, as she mentioned, we typically have, roughly 15 people coming from out of town to supplement various
Mhm.
sections. And so I've housed a couple of people almost every single concert since I've been in town.
Yes.
And it's been so fun because these people are really top level musicians, and they're just really nice people. They're excited to be here in Juneau. Some of them come back repeatedly. I know Julie Olson has housed the same violinist many times, who's come
Mhm.
up. And I think that violinist, he'd played in like all the John Williams recordings since, I don't know what, early Star Wars or something. So they just have lots of fun stories and a different life experience to share, yet they're excited to be here in Juneau. We've had living room concerts many times by these top musicians, and it's just pretty fun. So great exposure for, kids, or just to enjoy these people. They've cooked dinner for us many times and different things like that. So if you have a guest room, consider that. Charlotte would be excited to put you on the
Yes.
roster.
That's for sure. Yes.
It's typically like Thursday through Sunday or Monday that you'd be housing the person just on the concert weekend.
Mhm.
And you get free tickets, comp tickets to
Right.
the
Gonna
concert
say.
to enjoy yourself.
Oh, I just go for the free dinner.
Yeah.
Anybody else here? Yes, Carl.
Is there any kind of mentorship program between the symphony and the student age musicians here in town?
Yes, there is. That's a great question. We are pretty actively involved through our musicians. We have a program called Musicians in the Schools, where our symphony musicians go into the classrooms and play, show their instruments, answer questions, and get to know the students. We also have complimentary tickets for students in the school district and in the private studios and the homeschool programs as well. One of the things we did last year for our October concert, they happened to have the Southeast Music Fest was in Juneau. And so we found a way to bring in students that were attending Music Fest, and we gave them all complimentary tickets. And we worked with Kirby Day and his crew there with Princess Tours to provide transportation. And we brought over 100 students and chaperones from those students attending Music Fest to a concert so that they could experience a live concert. And these are students, from Wrangell, Petersburg, Haines, Sitka, Skagway, and so on. These are students who otherwise probably, well, I know most of them never had exposure to a full symphony orchestra. And those are students who aspire to play music. And that was a really effective outreach. And we worked with the faculty at Thunder Mountain High School, who was the hosting school, to help in that project as well. So by doing that, and by doing the summer music camp, and doing having musicians in the classrooms, we're trying to reach out and mentor these young students as well. Also, the music theory class that we've been providing online has been a good outreach to young musicians that are getting to know Franz really well as their teacher. And I think some of those connections are fantastic. And then kind of the overlapping work that we're doing in conjunction with the JAM program, we're trying to support that as well. So we also have opportunities for young students to play in the Juneau Student Symphony. And we did a performance last year. Our last one was able to be in February, right before the pandemic broke out. We had a really great concert that students were able to be involved in. So we have the Student Symphony, and then the outreach into the schools, and then the complimentary tickets to our concerts.
Great, thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
How many cities in Alaska have symphonies?
How many cities in Alaska have symphonies?
I would say I'm familiar with 1, 2, 3, probably 5. And then there are some of the smaller communities have like chamber groups. I know in Ketchikan, Jeff Carlson is working to establish a small chamber ensemble. We've partnered with Jeff Carlson, who is our principal trumpet player from Ketchikan, and we're talking about ways to do a partnership with Ketchikan, bringing his string players up for some workshops and participating with our string players to enhance their efforts. And then maybe we might tour. We might try to do a Southeast Alaska tour to Ketchikan and Sitka someday as well. But there are major orchestras in Anchorage, Fairbanks, Kenai, Juneau, and there's a little bit of activity in Homer as well. But we are definitely the major orchestra of the region, and are certainly doing more and more outreach throughout the state. We had, I believe, 14 communities represented, and people throughout 14 Alaska communities were watching our virtual concerts. And we kind of watch what's going on in Fairbanks and in Anchorage. And I can say I'm just very proud of the work that KTOO was able to do with us in providing our virtual concerts. It's really top level. And in this virtual time frame, you know, it's been a challenge for all organizations to put out high quality professional productions, and thanks to their help and our partnership with them, we were able to put out something that everyone, I think, is very proud of.
This is Doug. I also have a question. Amy said that our symphony is running in the black. Congratulations on that.
Yes.
So how does that rank throughout the United States? Is there a decline in this type of program?
Yes, there is a decline, and many orchestras were struggling, you know, before the pandemic, and certainly this has added an incredible stress and demand on them in this time of not being able to do performances. But we're fortunate in that we are a community orchestra, and we do not have paid musicians, and so we don't have a payroll of supporting unionized musicians, and so that has made it possible for us to keep in good financial standing. We also run a pretty tight ship and are very effective with a very hardworking, active board of directors. And they provide tremendous support to the staff and are very hands-on, and have made it possible for us to keep our costs low. We have a lot of good community support with sponsorships, you know, everything from Mindenhall Auto providing rental cars to hotels assisting us, and many local businesses supporting our work to help us cover expenses, and that's been a great help. But we're uniquely situated that our costs are pretty low. We don't have a full-time music director. And so we are kind of in this little sweet spot of the pocket of our orchestra where we've been able to make it work. Also, we've been very grateful to have received the CARES Act funding with the payroll protection plan and the additional grants. There are additional grants for arts organizations, and we've been able to avail ourselves of those funds, which have been critical to our survival and our ongoing thriving. And we are actually in really good shape right now. I'm so pleased, and we have a wonderful foundation of faithful supporters, individuals in our community who believe in the mission of the Juneau Symphony, who have stuck right beside us and are continuing to give and to support. And it's interesting, we just have really been trying to have a mindset of we want to come out stronger than ever. And it's interesting, by doing the virtual concert series, we've added to our customer base tremendously. You know, we've got, for example, we have about 48 new customers, if you will, patrons from Sitka, who otherwise would have never even been involved with the Juneau Symphony if we didn't have the virtual season. So we found areas, in fact, where we've had growth, and I'm kind of in touch daily with what's happening, and I'm adding new patrons and new people to our system daily. And it's been pretty exciting. I think we all value and appreciate the gift of music and what it means to us individually and collectively as a community. And it's been a beautiful thing to experience.
Thank you. We've got time for one more question. If anybody else have a question? Nobody?
What's the connection with the State Arts Council? Is it still ongoing activity or?
Is there a connection with the State Arts Council? Is there still activity?
Yes, the State Arts Council is back up and running, and they're continuing to support our efforts and many organizations throughout the state. We did receive grants from the State Council on the Arts and have applied for another grant. They are helping to dispense some of the funds that came through the National Endowment of the Arts. And so they were the conduit of some CARES Act monies from the National Endowment of the Arts. And they continue to support arts organizations throughout the state and they're doing okay. They're kind of recovering from the shutdown they had, the temporary shutdown and closure, but now they're back up and running. And we're grateful for that.
Well, thank you very much, Charlotte and Beth, for coming. And I know a lot of people in our club enjoy the symphony. You had a little more rock in it. I
Yeah.
probably enjoyed it a little
Well,
more.
we've got drums and a great rhythm section and jazz joining us on the Pops concert. So even if you're not a classical music lover, we have at least the Pops concert is sure to please you, and it's a lot of fun. I've been listening to the music and it's great. So if I could just close by reminding folks that they can visit our website anytime, and if you want to receive our newsletter, there's a place to join our mailing list for our newsletter on the bottom of the homepage of our website. And I did provide just a sheet of general information to Amy and Kim if anyone's interested in that that flyer that's available for you as well.